Welcome back. Now today's topic is something that I just want to revisit because I know that a lot of us have had issues with it, and I know that there are a lot of questions, and I want to make sure that you know that I'm committed to continuing to address this and help us all work towards a healthy mind and a healthy body, right? So today's topic has to do with cutting and self-harming. Now usually I just call it self-harm because I know a lot of us use different behaviors in our cutting or self-harming. So we'll just call it self-harm because that, describes all of the behaviors. So I want to talk a little bit about the personality type of someone who cuts or self-harms. And the reason I want to do this, and obviously it's a generalization, but the reason I feel this is important is because just like we do with eating disorders, and I talk about what purpose the eating disorder serves, this talking about the personality type of a cutter can also help us realize what purpose the self-harming serves. Does that make sense? So in order to better understand and better help ourselves, we have to kind of figure out why we're doing it in the first place. Okay? So I'm just going to give you a generalization based on my experience as well as some of the books I've read and research I've done on the characteristics of a self-harmer. So first of all, a self-harmer is someone who has not been able to form a secure attachment at a very young age. I know in the therapy world we talk about attachments a lot because within the first year of our life, forming a secure attachment to someone is really important to how we make relationships in the future, like healthy relationships. So an attachment means if I'm a baby and I cry because I need my diaper changed or I'm hungry or I just need to be coddled, someone comes, right? I cry, mom comes. I cry, dad comes. I cry, the babysitter comes, or the nanny. Somebody comes, right? So I know if I do that response to get help, attention, whatever I need, my needs are met. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the attachment, right? We form this loving relationship. I have a need because I'm a baby, I can't really help myself, and I have someone who takes care of that, whether it's mom, dad, babysitter, nanny, okay? And as I get a little bit older, when I'm upset, when I'm sad, I can come and I can cry to mom, I can cry to dad, I can cry, and I can be comforted, okay? Now, a lot of times, people who self-harm and cut don't have that. So most of the time, okay, so let's say you come into my office. You're 23 years old, you are a self-harmer, and you also have an eating disorder. And I'm doing my first session with you. Some of the first questions I would ask is, who do you turn to when you're having a bad day? Who do you talk to when you're feeling down? Who do you trust? And 8 out of 10 times, almost 9 out of 10 times, I'll hear myself. No one. If I talk to anybody, they're just going to let me down. I can't confide because one day they might tell somebody about it, and then my secrets will be out, and that's ruined. Does that sound kind of like you? Makes a little sense, right? Because if we don't feel like we can trust anybody, because when we were younger, we didn't have that. We don't believe that if we cry out or if we need help, that someone will be there, and they are consistently there and supportive. Okay? I hope this is making sense. I know sometimes these topics are a little abstract, and when I can't actually have you in my office and get your questions back and make sure it's clear, I just want to make sure I'm being clear. So we don't have a secure attachment, so we have trouble making friends and forming attachments now, which makes it really isolated, right? It makes it really hard. And so what that does is that usually gives us a lot of fear in our lives. We are full of fear that we are not enough, because a lot of times when we don't feel our parents are there, we try to do things to make them pay attention, to get that attachment, to get that comfort, that support. We do things like, I'm going to try really hard, I'm going to make my room really clean, I'm going to be perfect, everything's going to be perfect, and then they will love me, right? And so we're always constantly fearful that people will leave us, that we will have no one, that everything's just going to fall around us, that we won't be able to take care of ourselves, right? We have this fear of all the time. And what does cutting do? It releases that. It's our way of either For some people, it's focusing on the pain when we actually do self-harm, whether we burn or cut or whatever. We focus on that and the pain, and that kind of numbs us out from these unwelcome feelings that we have. Or we're expressing that feeling through the cutting or the burning or the self-harm. Does that make sense? So we're either trying to numb out or trying to let ourselves feel the intensity of our emotions. Okay? So I know that's a lot. That's a lot of information. But this is just kind of, our next step as we work to understand why we cut and self-harm and what we can do to help us more in the future, right? Okay, so we have that information. That's kind of maybe the what and why of our self-harm behavior. But now we're thinking, okay, well, yeah, I get that, but now what the heck do I do? Because I'm still doing it all the time and I still have the urges all the time. And the first thing I would just encourage you to do is distract. Now I know a lot of us are thinking, how the heck can I distract? It's overwhelming. It's in my brain. I can't even think about anything else, yada, yada, yada. That's the number one helper for my patients. Anybody I've had that's a self-harmer, distract. What does distraction look like? Getting out of the house, getting away from the things that you could actually self-harm with. I have one person, she really cracked me up. She had this really big trigger because a parent had come to visit and that was really triggering for her to cut. So she was feeling overwhelmed, put on her shoes. She ran out of her house. She just ran because if she would have stayed there, she had a lot of, we all have our hidden razors or lighters or whatever we use to hurt ourselves all over the house or in our room, and she had to get out. So that's a distraction technique. She left. We can call a friend. We can journal. We can listen to music. Anything. Distract yourself. And we're going to start small. Distract yourself for 5 minutes. Okay? We'll work up to longer periods of time. But each time you're able to distract, even if you end up doing it later, it's just like our eating disorders. If we end up acting out later, that's okay. This is a process. We have to start at the beginning. We have to give ourselves a little bit of time because as we can distract longer and longer, we have that little bit of time where we can think to ourselves, is this something that I really want to do? Am I going to feel worse about this later? Is there another way that I can express this emotion, right? So let's start there. We're going to distract for 5 minutes this week. When we have a bad trigger and we want to self-harm, we're going to distract. So find something that works for you, whatever it is. Everybody's different, and let's do it. So call a friend, listen to music, run out of your house, whatever you can do to kind of help yourself, okay? And I promise to keep working on these videos. So if you have different topics and comments and things you want me to address, please leave them below or send me a message or something to let me know. I have on my website, there's under the forums, there's a little topic, video topic blog where you can kind of link and put in what you want, your topic, and send it. And I don't monitor it, so all of your topics will come through and I'll let you know that I got it and that I've added it to my list. So if there's something else you want me to talk about, or if you don't think this is correct, if your experience is different, I totally respect that. Just let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to my videos because I post videos at least once a week, sometimes more, and then you'll know about it and you can, let me know and give me some feedback. Okay? So let's keep working together. We'll keep, distracting ourselves for that little bit of time this week as we take that 1 second, 1 minute at a time towards a healthy mind and a healthy body.